Alright, it's a Monday, just did my gym, my workout, and brought my camera along to force myself to do content because it's been a while since I do content, and seriously, consistency is the hardest thing to achieve for anybody. So in this video, I'm going to talk about the biggest lessons I've taken away after spending 1M plus for the last year on ads. As I'm filming this, we're in the month of November, so we're reaching December. That means most people are actually planning what to do for 2026. In fact, I just met one of my clients last week for lunch to strategize with them. So yeah, I think it's a good time to just share what I've learned, and hopefully it will give you some useful insights as well. So just to give you a little bit of context, over the last 1 year, I've spent more than $1 million right, on Facebook ads across more than 10 different industries. Right, I work with gyms, service businesses, tuition centers, interior design firms. Okay, so basically quite a few more. I calculated it's like more than 10 different industries. But the lessons I take away, it's really all pretty much similar. The three things I want to talk about, right, the three biggest takeaways I've learned after spending so much on ads is: number one, most businesses do not have an ad problem, right? They do have a follow-up problem. That means some part of their operations or their systems is really not streamlined. Number two, which is a big lesson as well, is do not fix what's not broken. Basically, don't fix what's already working. This is a big mistake I see a lot of businesses do. And thirdly, if you really want to scale your business, right, it has nothing to do with your ad spend, but really a lot to do with fixing the bottlenecks in your business. Alright, so let's dive straight into the lessons, right? Takeaway number one, it's almost never an ad problem, but a follow-up problem. Alright, this is the same for a lot of businesses that I've seen, right? I've spoken to a lot of business owners as well. Actually most of them don't have an ad problem. In fact, when you actually scale up their ads, you see more problems being amplified. This has really got to do with follow-up. Okay, so let me give you an example. I think some of you know that I work with quite a few real estate agents. This year, over the last month, I spent time to talk to those agents that did very well from paid ads. And really, I learned that the top performing agent, that person made 400K this year alone from paid ads. So I asked that person, what do you think is the biggest thing you did that gave you this success? And the person said this. Okay, I keep saying the person because I don't want to say he or she. Alright, so the client said this: consistency is very important in following up. So basically, every day, this client of mine will call between 5 to 7 p.m. Sit down at the phone, pick up the phone, and call without fail. And if the lead do not pick up, this client will continue calling for the next 7 days before this client decide to give up on the lead. So can you imagine the consistency? It sounds very simple, right? But I don't think everybody can do it. Can you sit down every day, 5 to 7 p.m., pick up the phone and call your leads? Because if you can do that, then you're probably going to be as successful as this client, right, who did 400K in paid ads alone from Meta ads. Okay, and I don't mind sharing it's in the real estate niche. That's why it's really not about the ads, right? It's really about how consistent you are when it comes to following up. I say this same message to all the business owners that comes to me for consulting. All right, it's really this. Literally, I run ads for so many industries, right? I can almost get leads for any industry. Okay, but what I cannot guarantee is how consistent these people are going to be when it comes to following up. Whether are you calling, do you know how to say the right things? Are you setting the appointments? Okay, because if those things are not being done, you're not following up, you're not setting appointments, then probably you will not see any success in the campaign. So that's why, like I said, if you're a business owner watching this, right, if you're already running ads or you want to run ads, you firstly need to think about the whole process as well, because ads is really just one part to making the whole thing successful. Okay, so it's not about spending like thousands or millions in your ads per year, but really looking into processes like this. Okay, and really this is the number one thing I fix after I run ads for my clients. Alright, because after I generate them a lot of leads, then they will say, hey, I cannot convert, or they will say things like, the quality is not good. But actually the real reason is because they don't really follow up consistently. Okay, so takeaway number one is really not about the ad problem. Okay, if you want to be successful in your campaign, in your ads in 2026, it is really about being very consistent in your follow-up. Takeaway number two, don't fix what's not broken. In fact, I just met a client last week for lunch, right? They did pretty well on their ads. In fact, they got a 10x return, but they're still thinking, should we film a new angle? Should we do a new video? My reply to them was, for what? Your campaign is really doing 10x return. It means the angle is working, okay? And your cost per lead is still being consistent around $20. So why do you want to change? Okay, again, this is a mistake that I see a lot of entrepreneurs make. They feel that I need to do something, I need to change something. If something is really working, right, don't go and fix it. Don't do extra work, okay? Because if you go and fix it, you go and fix something that's really working, you're changing that whole variable, right? And then everything will start crumbling down again, then you'll panic again, then you need to fix again. So really, today in your business, right, just go and look across your whole business process. If something is really working well and it's not broken, don't go and fix anything. If you want to refresh the ads, fine. A new video, while with the same messaging, maybe in a new place, in a new environment, but the ad angle should remain the same because the angle is really working. So don't go and fix it. don't go and change anything. So just to add on to this point, right, some businesses, for example, they do well in meta ads, then they suddenly want to make more changes. They'll start thinking to themselves, should I run TikTok ads? Should I run YouTube ads? Should I run Google ads? Right, they start to, want to add a lot of variables. So my point is this, if meta ads is really working for you, don't go and fix it by changing anything. In fact, you should double down on what's already working. Right, double your ad spend until you can double the revenue and income first before you think that you really reach the maximum of what you can spend in Facebook ads. Before you can go and try other platforms, right? But most business owners, they don't even maximize their ad spend. They're spending around 1-2K a month, then they think that they should go and explore other avenues. So if it's really working for you, double down. If you're spending 2K a month, double that to 4K, then 8K, then 10K. I have clients who are spending up to 50K a month on ads, and he still think that he can scale more. So it's really about not fixing things that are not broken. And just to add a part to this point, right? A lot of times we try something new, okay, we tend to give up. You won't really know whether it's broken or not until you give yourself a little bit more time first. And what I'm trying to say is don't quit too early on things that don't work. Okay, let me give an example. If I give an example, it's easier for you guys to really understand. This Realtor client, I've been working with him for 2 years. We have been running Facebook ads all the while. It's doing quite well. And at one point, we decided that, we should start doing more content. But doing content is difficult because not everybody can do it. Nobody can put a camera in front of here and just talk to it. So it was very uncomfortable for this client to start doing YouTube content, but he managed to do it. What I did tell him though was that don't expect to see success in the first 3 months. In fact, don't expect to see any results for the next 3 to 6 months. True enough, we started running YouTube content, right, like organic content in November 2024. And at the time of filming this video right now, we are in November 2025. Over the last couple of months, he has gotten 3 leads from YouTube. But guess what? These 3 leads are solid leads. Like they are ready to buy property from him. So sometimes you just need to be a bit more patient, just be a bit more consistent before you can start seeing results. And this is just a reminder that, number one, do not fix what's really working. And sometimes you just need to be a bit more consistent. Maybe you might be thinking, how do I know whether it's not working or not? So go and ask around go and see what are the successful people doing in your industry and give yourself a timeline. So for this client, I knew that, for YouTube content to take off, it has to be like 6 months to a year of consistent posting. So you really need to give yourself a timeline before you decide that it's not working. But let's say we're talking about ads, right? If you run ads, if you run a certain ad angle, within the first month, you will know whether it's working or not. If your cost per lead is around $80, $100, it's probably not going to work. The numbers won't match up in your industry. So $80 to $100 would be quite expensive cost per lead across any industries. But that is the general cost per lead we are getting for real estate agents who are running new launch. Takeaway number 2, do not fix what's not broken. Try to give yourself a bit more time and be more patient and seeing things through. Takeaway number 3, your bottleneck, not your ad spend, is what determines whether you can scale your revenue or not. Story number 3, every example I'll give a story. So this story is about a client in the gym industry, in the fitness industry. Right before they came to me, it's just a one-man show, right? And I knew that there's going to be a cap, even if the ad campaigns were profitable. True enough, after we started running ads, our campaign, the ROI was around 5 to 6 times on his ad spend. Okay, so easily cross 10 plus 20K a month. But that wasn't my concern, right? Because I look at his offer, I look at his whole business model, I know this guy can scale past 5 figures. But I told him straight in the first month of working with him, I said, bro, I don't think we're going to have an issue with scaling our revenue, okay? But we're going to have an issue after you hit that 20K. Because it's a one-man show, which means he has to start building a team, right? Having SOPs in place before he can scale the ad. Okay, and true enough, I think in the first few months of working together, he said, hey, I've hit capacity already. But the good thing is, right, he took my advice and he managed to bring in 2 more new members. And that means he can continue to scale his ad spend because he's going to train his members to follow up the leads. Then he has more capacity to take on more clients and the whole revenue can grow. So a lot of times, right, when businesses come to me to want to get leads, right, the first thing I usually ask is like, what's your company setup like? Who is doing the follow-up? Do you have people to fulfill your service, right? If it's a service business, right? Because these 2 things are important. If you can't follow up on time and you don't have the capacity to fulfill, right, even if you can have super positive ROI in your ads, it will still come falling down. The whole thing will break, okay? Because paid ads will just amplify what's already working in your system. If you really have a follow-up problem or you have a fulfillment problem, you run ads, it's going to amplify the whole problem. So these are 3 biggest takeaways for this year. And I hope that gives you a bit of useful insight as you are planning your 2026. Okay, so number 1, be very consistent in your follow-up, right? It's nothing to do with your ads or nothing to do with your cost per lead. It's just your follow-up. Number 2, do not fix what's not broken. Continue to double down on what's really working if you can. A sub part to this point is just to be more patient, right, in seeing through when you start something new. And of course, thirdly, the bottleneck most of the time when it comes to scaling, it's got to do with your capacity, your fulfillment and your follow-up. It has nothing to do with your ad spend. I hope this video is useful. You know, this video is like 12 minutes long, all right? And it might be boring that I'm just sitting here talking, but I guess it will make a lot of sense for those of you who are business owners. In fact, you know, the advice I give out, it's what people pay me for, right? Last month, somebody just paid me 400 bucks on a 1-hour call just to get my advice on ads. But yeah, I'm just putting on YouTube. So if you're watching up to this point, congrats, you have gotten some very valuable advice. Okay, so if whatever I'm sharing is useful, feel free to follow my YouTube channel. If not, just go to my Instagram as well. I post pretty often there. And if you're a business owner looking to scale, you're having some problems with your ads, or you don't know what to do, feel free to reach out to me. Or you can download my lead magnet, right? I wrote this guide called Predictable Clients. All right, I wrote this lead magnet for businesses who want to, you know, have more certainty and have more predictability in their client acquisition process. All right, so feel free to download it in the comment section. If not, I'll see you soon in my next video. Bye!